Today, we're discussing 6 K-pop idols whose vocals are incredibly powerful when singing live, without the slightest hint of autotune. Let's see who deserves this title.
Number 6. Evan. This name might not be as legendary as the others on this list just yet, but make no mistake, among hardcore fans who closely follow K-pop vocals, his name has been coming up more and more lately. If you're just hearing about him now, that's completely normal, since he belongs to a rising generation and has only recently started gaining widespread recognition. But the moment people hear him sing live without any studio magic, the reaction is usually the same: pure shock. Why? Because a lot of rookies still need time to truly stabilize on stage, especially when they have to sing during intense choreography. Evan seems to have cleared that hurdle much faster than most. In several fan polls held this year, his name managed to land near the top for the Best Male Vocalist category, which is no small feat considering how cutthroat the industry is right now. Hundreds, even thousands of trainees debut every year, but very few can actually translate their training room skills into consistent live performances. One thing that makes Evan stand out is his pitch stability. A lot of singers, even professionals, tend to get a bit shaky when hitting a song's climax while doing physically demanding choreography. Usually, their breath gets short, pitch control slips, and their voice starts wavering. However, based on several performance clips going around, he rarely seems to experience that, at least compared to the average idol from his generation. Of course, this kind of assessment is subjective and can vary depending on who is judging, where the source comes from, and which specific performance is being used as a reference. The details can differ based on the source and time frame, so don't take this as absolute fact. Interestingly, this phenomenon is pretty common in any entertainment industry, not just K-pop. Some singers take a long time to mature technically, while others show a rock-solid foundation from the start of their careers. This usually comes down to their pre-debut training background, whether they participated in singing competitions or had formal vocal training long before becoming an agency trainee. To put it in sports terms, it's like an athlete who has mastered their fundamental techniques from a young age. When they move up to a higher level, they don't need to rebuild their basics from scratch, they just need to polish them. This is exactly why some rookies can stand out immediately, even if they don't have as much stage experience as their seniors. If you're curious, try looking up his performance videos that are most talked about for vocal stability, usually from weekly music shows or specific festivals. From there, the difference between completely live vocals and those tweaked with post-production editing is usually pretty clear. The easiest way to check is simple: just listen to whether their breathing sounds natural and whether there are moments where the pitch wavers slightly during fast lyric transitions. Ultimately, Evan serves as a great example that a reputation for having the best vocals isn't exclusively reserved for the longest-running or senior idols. Sometimes newcomers who come fully prepared can earn recognition much faster than anyone expected. This also signals to the industry that vocal standards among the new generation are steadily rising, which is great news for K-pop fans overall, as it means healthier competition in terms of quality.
Number 5. Wendy. Red Velvet. When talking about female K-pop vocalists who are genuinely respected for their technical skills, Wendy's name almost always enters the conversation. And it's not just because she has a beautiful voice, but because the techniques she uses are truly next level. One of her trademarks is her ability to execute vocal runs, those rapid, fluid successions of notes typically used to embellish certain parts of R&B or soul tracks. This is not an easy technique to master because it requires high breath control and pitch precision at the same time. If the execution is off, it ends up sounding messy rather than beautiful. Wendy is widely considered to be highly consistent at doing this live, not just in studio recordings. Additionally, what makes her stand out is her register flexibility. In other words, she can seamlessly transition from a soft, near whisper to a powerhouse belt in a split second without sounding forced or losing clarity. Imagine talking quietly and then suddenly having to yell enthusiastically to call a friend from afar, but the transition still sounds incredibly smooth and natural. That's a simple way to visualize great register control. Her background also heavily supports this reputation. Before debuting with Red Velvet, she received a serious music education, which shows in the way she executes techniques usually mastered only by singers with formal training. In many sources discussing K-pop's top vocalists, she almost always makes the list, though the ranking might vary depending on who is putting it together. Interestingly, Red Velvet's image as a group with a solid vocal quality isn't just about one member. As a whole, the group is known for having a stronger vocal foundation than the average girl group. However, among all the members, Wendy's name is the one most frequently spotlighted specifically for technical vocal prowess. One of the moments fans love to discuss is her performances at special events, like concerts or music awards shows, where she is usually tasked with singing the most challenging parts of a song, whether it's a high note at the climax or a free ad-lib at the end. An ad-lib is essentially vocal improvisation that isn't bound to the original melody, allowing a singer to showcase both creativity and technical skill at the same time. Singers who lack confidence in their abilities usually avoid ad-libs or keep them as safe as possible, but for a singer like Wendy, this is exactly the moment to show off her strongest assets. One thing to keep in mind is that judging who the best vocalist is will always be subjective, and it can change depending on the criteria used, whether the focus is on pure technique, emotional delivery, or career-long consistency. So, if someone argues that the order should be different, that's completely fair, as there is no single universal metric that applies to everyone.
Number 4. Taeyang, Big Bang. Now here is a name that has recently sparked exciting conversations among K-pop fans across different generations. Taeyang, a member of Big Bang who has been in the industry since the mid-2000s, grabbed the spotlight again due to his performance on an international music festival stage this year. What caused a massive stir was that his vocals sounded practically flawless throughout the entire set, to the point where some media outlets claimed it sounded like Autotune, even though it was entirely raw live vocals without any digital help. This is fascinating when you consider the context. Taeyang is no rookie. He has been in the industry for over 2 decades. Typically, the longer a singer's career, the harder it becomes to maintain vocal quality, especially when performing on massive stages under the intense pressure of an international spotlight. The truth is, performing at a major festival is completely different from hosting your own concert. At festivals, the lineup is a mix of artists from various genres and countries. The crowd is much more diverse, and soundcheck time is usually way more limited than at a solo concert. These kinds of conditions are actually quite challenging for vocal stability because the singer has to quickly adapt to a sound system that might differ from what they are used to. From that alone, it's clear that Taeyang's ability to deliver a rock-solid performance even under less than ideal conditions is proof of a highly mature technical foundation. One of the distinct features of Taeyang's vocal style is the heavy influence of R&B and soul, which has defined his musical identity for a long time. He is known for his smooth falsetto control, a singing technique that uses the head voice to reach high notes with a softer, lighter tone than the usual chest voice. This technique is often used by R&B singers to add emotional nuance to a song, but if the control isn't there, it can end up sounding weak or unstable. What makes him so appreciated is that his falsetto remains strong and clear, rather than thin and easily shaken. Beyond the technique, what made this moment a talking point is that it served as a reminder to the public of who is truly singing live and who might need a bit more backup on stage. This isn't meant to shade anyone, of course, because every singer faces unique challenges depending on the song style, choreography workload, and their physical health on any given day. But moments like this definitely spark fun discussions among music lovers who care about live performance quality. Interestingly, in any music industry, a veteran singer who can still maintain their vocal quality is considered special because age and intense schedules naturally take a toll on vocal endurance over time. So, when a first or second generation singer can still perform that powerfully, it definitely deserves extra appreciation. The technical details of this assessment will always vary depending on who is judging and which specific performance clip is being referenced. Number 3. V of BTS. Moving to number 3, we find one of the names that pops up most frequently when discussing widely acclaimed male K-pop vocalists, V of BTS. If you follow various fan polls for the best vocalists this year, his name is almost always at the top. In fact, in one major poll, he won by a landslide against other candidates. But this isn't just about popularity among fans. His vocal tone has a highly unique identity compared to most other idol vocalists. One of the easiest things to recognize about his voice is his signature baritone color, a vocal range that tends to be lower and heavier compared to most male K-pop vocalists, who are predominantly tenors. In an industry where most song productions lean toward high notes to fit standard boy group styles, having a naturally deeper voice serves as a unique differentiator. This is why many people say his voice is instantly recognizable within the first few seconds of a song, without even needing to see who is singing. Aside from his vocal color, he is frequently praised for the way he conveys emotion through his singing, rather than just relying on technique. This is an important distinction because high technical skill alone doesn't guarantee a song will sound moving. Some singers have incredible technique, but sound emotionally flat, while others might have average technique but can give listeners goosebumps because of their powerful delivery. V is often cited as an example of a singer who can combine both solid technique and deep emotional delivery, especially in slower songs or ballads. Interestingly, even though he isn't officially designated as the main vocalist in his group, a position usually held by other members, his individual reputation outside the group frequently earns separate recognition for its quality. This is an interesting example of how official positions within a group don't always fully reflect an individual's complete skill level, as part-line distribution usually considers many factors, like the overall vocal composition of the group, rather than just who is the most technically skilled on their own. Across various concert performances and music broadcasts, he is also heavily highlighted for his pitch stability, which remains consistent even while moving actively on stage. This is no small feat. For many singers, combining demanding vocals with intense physical movement is one of the biggest hurdles in live performance. It's also worth remembering that fan poll results are dynamic and can change over time, depending on who is currently promoting a comeback or trending in the public eye. Therefore, the specific rankings and vote percentages in polls might look different if you check at a different time or from a different source.
Number 2. Jungkook, BTS. Stepping into the number 2 spot is a name from the exact same group, Jungkook. While V is known for his unique vocal color and deep emotional delivery, Jungkook is most frequently highlighted for his seemingly effortless technical ability, making things look incredibly easy when they are actually very difficult for most people to pull off. One of the moments most frequently discussed regarding his vocals is his performance during encore stages. These are casual, additional sessions after winning a weekly music show, where the atmosphere is much more relaxed and far less rigid than a formal performance. In these moments, you can truly see which singers possess rock-solid vocal talent. They aren't pressured to look perfect like on the main stage, but it often ends up being the most honest display of raw ability. Jungkook is famous for repeatedly hitting high notes in a way that sounds incredibly light and unforced, even though high notes are usually the most challenging part for any singer, especially when done spontaneously without much specific preparation. This is what leads many netizens and music fans to point to him as definitive proof of his status as one of his group's core vocal pillars. An interesting backstory regarding his ability is that he is known to practice vocals diligently on his own, even after debuting, rather than just relying on the formal training provided by his agency. However, because specific details about his practice routine can vary depending on the source, it's best not to make overly specific claims about it. What is clear, though, is that the results of that hard work show in his performance consistency year after year. One thing that sets him apart from several other vocalists on this list is the incredibly wide range of genres he handles, spanning from energetic, choreography-heavy group tracks to personal solo tracks that rely purely on vocal strength without any visual distractions. Being able to sound completely convincing across such diverse styles is no easy task, as every genre demands different techniques. Upbeat tracks require immense stamina and breath control due to intense dancing, while ballads demand subtler volume dynamics to properly convey emotion. An idol who excels at both sides is usually considered more well-rounded than one who is only strong in one genre. His reputation in this regard is backed by consistent discussions across media outlets and fan communities over time, though any assessment of who is the best will always carry an unavoidable element of subjectivity. The exact details may vary depending on the source and time frame, but overall, his reputation for solid live vocals is widely acknowledged.
Number 1. Chen, EXO. And finally, we arrive at the top spot, a name that is almost always brought up as the gold standard for K-pop vocals, Chen of EXO. If you ask veteran fans who have followed the industry since the second generation, many will instantly agree that he serves as the benchmark for measuring an idol's vocal talent. The title frequently given to him is Vocal God, and a title that high is never handed out lightly, especially in an industry as fiercely competitive as K-pop is today. One of the primary reasons he is considered so exceptional comes down to consistency. Many singers experience a drastic drop in live quality when they are exhausted, mildly under the weather, or forced to sing during intense choreography. Yet, across various performance clips circulating throughout his years-long career, he rarely seems to experience any significant drop in quality, even under challenging stage conditions. This is why many people remark that his live stage vocals sound almost identical to his studio recordings, even though there is usually a noticeable quality gap between a controlled studio environment and a live stage filled with unpredictable variables. Technically speaking, he is known for exceptional breath control, which provides the vital foundation needed to sustain long or high notes without sounding winded halfway through. Beyond that, he is incredibly flexible with genres. He can deliver a ballad requiring emotional softness, but he can just as easily showcase massive vocal power during a song's more dramatic climax. This combination of technical control and emotional strength is exactly why he is frequently cited as one of the most complete vocalists of his generation. Interestingly, this reputation doesn't just come from fans. It is frequently acknowledged by fellow musicians and professionals working inside the music industry, though we should always take specific who said what claims with a grain of salt, as that kind of information can easily get distorted without clear sources. What we can confidently hold on to is his long-term, consistent reputation that spans generations, even amidst the wave of new talents emerging every year. For K-pop listeners just starting to explore the industry's best vocalists, Chen's name is typically one of the most highly recommended starting points to truly understand what it sounds like when an idol completely masters vocal technique. Of course, any judgment on who is the absolute best remains subjective and will vary based on the listener's taste and evaluation standards. However, when it comes to the most widespread and enduring recognition over time, this name is simply impossible to leave off any list discussing the best auto-tune free vocals in the K-pop industry.